This is Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur with your host, Lynn Freest. Lynn will share ideas and expert advice from people that are walking in your shoes and living their encore careers, where they want and at the pace they want. You'll start a company of one with confidence and knowledge to live a fulfilled life of freedom and ease. Lynn is a coach and leadership consultant whose mission is to show senior leaders and experts how to start something refreshing and new after a full career in the corporate environment.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur. Making the leap from being a corporate leader and expert into becoming a solopreneur can be daunting, but the rewards are great. You can work when you want, where you want, and do the work you love. I can be that guide and thinking partner for you. As your coach, I will help you go farther and faster based on what I've learned from being on this journey for several years. If you're having even thoughts about starting an Encore career, please contact me and take our self-assessment quiz. The quiz will help you get some quick clarity around what's possible for you in the future. After you listen to the podcast, I also encourage you to visit my website at lynnfreest.com and download the PDF and use that as a guide to help you take the next steps in pursuing your Encore career. Well, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about my motivations. And basically, it's titled, What are the 5 reasons I chose to launch my Encore career and why I chose not to retire? So there are 5 of them that we'll go over today. The first one was creating my own business. The second one was I love coaching. The third one is to help make some money. The fourth is I felt I had a lot of life ahead of me. And the fifth one is the world needs senior talent. So to get right into the first one, I wanted to start my own business to do something I'd love and to work when I want and where I want, rather than working a corporate grind in jobs that I felt probably weren't going to be a good fit for me. In the later years of my career, I was somewhat stifled in my corporate work. I felt I was pigeonholed according to the past things that I'd done, and just they didn't reflect what I wanted to do moving forward. And the company itself was developing new talent. As the boomers like myself retired, they had to bring new leadership forward, bring people into new roles quickly. So they had a reason to be busily developing younger talent. At one point, sort of the inciting incident for me was I didn't get a job, and it was explained to me that was because it was a developmental position. And of course, I didn't care for that much because that meant they thought somebody else could do the job for 3 years and develop into future jobs, whereas they felt it would be useless having me in that job because I wasn't going to be around forever, which in today's world we know isn't even necessarily true for younger people. And then also, I had a growth mindset. And, I really wanted to find roles where I could continue growing and not just delivering the same good results I did in my old positions, the things I've known in the past. I wanted to move on to new and different activities and develop new skills. The other thing that helped me in this is that in today's world, it's easier than ever to start a business and to learn new things. So again, outside the constraints of the corporate world, there are all kinds of things that are going to be possible. And, that comes back to the piece that's often the reason why people, don't like older workers is the technology. But you know what? It's easier than ever to adopt the technology you need. And also, quite frankly, to get help, having other people do pieces of technology you may not be familiar or fluent with. The second reason I refused to retire was I love coaching, and I wanted to continue helping people. I've coached people for over 20 years, and it's always been exciting and fulfilling to have me help them grow towards what they want to be. So that whole idea of being a coach for people has always been, fundamental to what I wanted to do in my career, and certainly is something I could continue going forward. Coaching wasn't a technology type skill. It was something I'd honed it over the years, and I wanted to continue using it. I had just been coaching people, helped them develop much better, and it worked so much better than the one and done classes that people might be taking. So for me, coaching was a fundamental way to help people get better that was just way above any of the traditional training things that went on. And also, this whole idea of, I think when you're effective, it's because of the habits of thinking and the habits of action that you have. And those are not always that easy to develop or change. So for me, coaching has always been one of those things that I can help others as well as myself, but I can help others develop new habits of thinking, new habits of action, and really create transformation for themselves. Number 3, I wanted to make some money. Now, I could make it with the resources that I had going into retirement, but quite frankly, some more money would make things easier, and it would give us more options in what we did moving forward. And then, quite frankly, while doing volunteer work is valuable, what I found is when people aren't paying for something, they're just not as engaged. What we've usually said is they don't have any skin in the game. So to the extent that I wanted to help people develop, I wanted to do things where people actually paid money for it, and that way we had their complete attention. So again, is money the only reason to do this stuff? Probably not, because it's kind of hard starting a new business, not in the same field you're in, trying to find clients and customers, and I've talked about that in other episodes. So this isn't the easiest thing I ever tried to do, but it was something that I think I've found rewarding. I have made some money, would like to continue to grow, help more people, and thereby make more money. But, it's a piece of it. And again, this is nothing to say, if other people who choose to leave the corporate life and do volunteer work, more power to them. The world needs them, and it's a great way for people to contribute. The fourth reason I refused to retire was I still have a lot of life ahead of me. I've been retired now for 6 years, but I can see actively working and doing things for maybe another 10 years. I won't do things at the same pace. I may not do things with the intensity, but I can certainly still stay active. And I say this in all my intros and stuff like that. I wasn't interested in playing golf or doing crossword puzzles for decades. We'd never know for sure how much life is left for us. It could easily be that I could be around until 90. My mother is currently 95. So I didn't want to spend the next 2 decades doing crossword puzzles or, trying to play golf every day or whatever it might be. I wanted to be doing something where it was really engaging for me, inspiring for me, and truly helping others. Had a colleague that was on my podcast, Dennis McEntee. He said, retire means put out of use. Well, I didn't want to be put out of use. I didn't want to retire. I really wanted to refire. And as my wife said, I'm repurposed in my life. Instead of what I was doing in my corporate world, I'm doing something a little bit different. But I'm still, doing some interesting stuff. And another thing is, when you retire, you lose that camaraderie at work. Now, we've got friends, we have family, we have all kinds of things to help us have a collection of people. But I was very much interested in continuing to engage with other people who are creating and growing businesses, people who are creative. So that was another reason that I wouldn't get that same fire and energy out of playing golf or doing crossword puzzles, as it were. And finally, the fifth reason, and this is what I've come on and I've been studying over the last several years, the world needs talent. And we've all heard about the talent shortages in today's world. Here we are in 2021. And quite frankly, I can help people become what I'll call senior talent, the people that are leaving the corporate world. And I can also help companies understand what they would get out of using silver talent. It's one of those things that people my age, the boomers, even the late Gen X people now, we can help recruit, we can help develop new talent for organizations. Often the people leading organizations, they're fully engaged in the execution of work. They're engaged in getting things done, making the trains run on time. And all of a sudden, on top of that, now they have to develop new people, develop new leaders, and it becomes overwhelming for them. And they, quite frankly, just don't do a very good job of it, which leaves the new leaders, and especially when we're recruiting people from different walks of life now than we did before, that don't have that maybe shared experience that old corporate leaders had growing up with parents who were corporate leaders, kind of a thing. We have people coming in with different experience sets, and the diversity is amazing, and it's going to provide amazing work. But it is one of those things where they do need some assistance. Now, it's interesting. I found an article from 2018 from the New England Journal of Medicine, and it said that people are most productive between the ages of 60 and 70. And the second most productive decade is between 70 and 80. And the third is between 50 and 60. So again, here, this is one study, one article, but, it implies that, just because we've hit 50, 60, or even 70, doesn't mean we've expired or we need to retire. It means we have some maybe different skills. We may not have the current technology skills, but you know what? We've spent decades working with people. And so we do have experience when things go right or things go wrong with people in the everyday. How do you handle those things? Technology may be brand new, but People have been doing similar things now for thousands of years. You can read some of the old Greek philosophers, and the problems they discuss with people are virtually the same problems we deal with every day today. So again, while we may not be bringing in natural technology skills, my age group, similar age groups, we are bringing in a whole lot of experience working with people. And again, I also didn't want leaders and experts to be in a rocking chair unless they really wanted to. And again, there's people may choose to just retire. They may choose to do volunteer work. They may choose to get another job. But I wanted to provide people the option to go out, start their own business, and still make a contribution. You know, you think about it, if only 20% of the boomer population are interested in becoming teachers and coaches, that's really a whole lot of people we have available to help develop the new talent that we need in this world. And again, as I mentioned before, it's hard for corporate leaders to develop new talent when they're busy executing the operations of the business. So once they get that concept in there that, hey, we can bring in other people, and people like myself, we don't want to work 60 hours a week anymore, but we're more than happy to come in and coach, consult, counsel, and help develop new talent. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the new talent is coming from many backgrounds, and they may have not had as much exposure to how business works over periods of time like we have. Again, so we can bring that perspective that, okay, yeah, I've seen that happen before, and here's how I dealt with it. So some of the experiences that new leaders are facing are brand new to them, not so much brand new to us that have been around for a while. So those are my 5 reasons why I refused to retire. I wanted to create my own business. I love coaching and helping people develop and transform themselves. I wanted to make some money. I felt I had a lot of life ahead of me. Wasn't ready for golf and crossword puzzles. And finally, the overarching is the world needs the talent that my cohorts, my colleagues, my group of people represent. They need us to help develop that new talent that the world needs. I hope you found this interesting. Remember, with an Encore Career, the rewards are great. You can work when you want, where you want, and do the work you love. As your coach, I'll help you go farther and faster based on what I've learned from being on this journey for several years. You have the time, the attention, and the money to make this leap into an Encore Career. So let me help you do it. So if you're having thoughts, even a few thoughts about starting an Encore Career, please contact me and take the self-assessment quiz. The quiz will help you get some quick clarity around what's possible for you in the future. And after you listen to the podcast, I encourage you to visit my website at linfrias.com and download the PDF and use it as a guide to help you take the next steps on your pursuit of an Encore Career. Thanks for listening. Check in with me if I can help.